I'm a 19-year-old female, about 165 pounds. I'm also 5'9". I live with my grandmother and we don't really get along, but I don't have any other options for the moment, so I manage. I usually have to take out the garbage when she tells me to, and I really hate doing it. This week, we had a lot to set out because my grandmother was getting a new bed and her room had a lot of stuff in it that needed to be cleaned out. I was getting her old computer stand that she calls the monstrosity, and I had to clean stuff out of my room as well to make it fit. This is why we had a lot of stuff to get rid of this week, and I was the one to have to make it all fit in one small ass bin. It was about 10 p.m., and this wasn't even the latest I've taken out the trash. I've taken it out at 3 a.m. before, just because my grandmother was on the phone with another one of her stupid daughters that was getting the bed. I had already taken the trash out, and I had to fix the damn recycle bin. Ours is way too small, so I had to flatten out the boxes to make everything fit without falling out. I was in the garage, and the garage door was open. I live in a quiet little nest of townhomes, and we don't own a car, so the garage is a storage for everything that isn't being used. Now I listen to creepy stories on YouTube, and I was listening to one before I started taking out the trash. This already made me a little jumpy, being outside in the cold and quiet dark in the month of October alone. I know people do crazy stuff to scare people for kicks, but it never happened to me before, so me looking up every so often to the door wasn't really out of the question for me. Of course, I knew I wasn't overreacting, but I still felt uneasy, like I knew something wasn't right. I was fiddling with the recycling for about 5 minutes at this point when I glanced up at the door. To my complacent horror, I saw a clown standing in the middle of the sidewalk in my driveway, staring right at me. All the blood on my face drained, and I couldn't help but feel it. You always hear about these things, but until you live it, be thankful that you don't know what it feels like. The clown was straight out of a horror movie, smudgy makeup, red nose, hair, and black and white striped clown outfit with the rainbow spots. I was frozen in fear. I really never felt fear before in my life, and this isn't something I ever want to feel again. I shot up when it took a step forward. I was staring at them. Scared to death, I prayed my grandmother wouldn't come back to the door. I don't care for my grandmother, but I don't want her to get hurt. We don't get along, but I still care if you know what I mean. It may sound cold, but whatever. This stupid clown took another step forward. It was at this point I noticed something. How I had missed something so important. The clown had a butcher knife. At this point, the clown was about 5 footsteps from the garage door. I knew if I stayed put any longer, I was probably going to die. I really don't know how I did this, and it's really a blur because of the adrenaline that was running through me. All I remember that clown was grinning, showing his yellow teeth and running at me. Somehow, I managed to jump backward inside, thankfully open the door, and close it using all of my weight to force it shut. Thank God, I always make sure the door leading the garage door is locked 24/7 because I am always afraid of someone breaking in. The clown was banging on the metal door and trying to break it down. At this point, my grandmother came to see what was going on, and I told her to call the cops now. She went to grab the phone, and I was still holding myself against the door. I had my shoes on, and I had a strong grip on the floor. This guy was not getting in. The banging got more frantic, and the guy was backing up and then banging into the door with his whole body. I placed both of my feet on the other door, leading to the kitchen. My house has the kitchen and a laundry room together, and the laundry room leads to the garage. It's no more than 2 regular doors big, and I'm 5'9", so this was good in my case, to hold my upper back against the door with my feet up like this. The banging went on forever, or so it felt like. I heard the cop cars as they were probably coming down my street, and one last bang that broke the lock on the door and made the door open an inch before I shoved it closed. Nothing else happened for about 30 seconds, and I heard the cop cars and knew they were right outside my house, and no more than a second later, I heard cops saying, "Open this door, it's the police." I put my feet down, still ready to slam the door closed in case that was the clown. I know this was stupid because I heard the cars and the radios, but hell, I was scared shitless and on edge. Don't tell me you wouldn't be too. I cracked the door open to see a cop with his gun drawn in his hand. I opened the door all the way, and my knees gave out, and I fell on my butt, staring at the knife stabbed in the metal door. The cop could easily see the trash that was kicked around from the guy, and my very pale look, and in my face, I was visibly shaking. About 5 to 6 cops showed up and took a look around outside my house and took statements and removed the knife from the door. They said we'd get a call back in a couple of days. 2 of the cops are still driving past my street about every half hour. I was never scared of clowns. I'm still not, but I don't like them and I don't want to see clowns for a good while. I messaged one of my friends and told her about this, and I think she thought I was joking with her, so I don't bother telling her about the knife. I never thought that this kind of thing would ever happen in real life, and I really wouldn't ever want it to happen again, but I was wrong. This can happen to anyone. Never think that it can't. This world's full of crazy people that just want to scare you, or just plain want to kill you for kicks. Always pay attention to the things that are around you. It started in a haunted cave on Halloween. Just me and my friend Anna. Me and Anna are total opposite. She's blonde, outgoing, and completely fearless. I'm dark-haired, introverted, and a people pleaser. That's actually how I ended up at this cave, people pleasing. Anyways, we go through the cave, and it was pretty awesome. The usual people with chainsaws, screamers, clowns. One clown kept following us. He wasn't like the other clowns, who wore face paint with fake blood spattered on him. He did have a big red nose and clown clothes. He had on regular, if not tattered jeans, a stained sweaty white tee, and a clown mask. This mask was pretty detailed. It had the eyes cut out and a wicked jagged tooth mouth with blood smeared around it. It was seriously creepy. He follows us all the way through the house as we giggle and run until the fog room at the end. Once we make it outside, we go to get hot cocoa and watch the bands play. While in line, the clown walks up and stands inches away from me, breathing in and out so hard, his mask sticks to his face and releases with each breath. Okay, creepy, but normal for this place. He walks away and we giggle. He stays close and staring. We walk over to the band and he stands right behind me. He starts tugging on my hair. I ignore it, but then he tugs harder. Suddenly, he pulls so hard my head whips back. Anna starts yelling at him, and he lets go and walks away, but like before, he doesn't go too far. She wanted to tell someone, but I didn't. We were in a haunted cave, and he probably didn't mean to. But she said no, they can't touch you, and we walked over to the ticket booth to complain. It went like this. Anna said, "Ma'am, your clown over there pulled my friend's hair so hard and almost ripped out." The ticket lady responded, "I don't see any of our clowns. They're all in the cave. None of our people walk around out here. They are behind that rope." And the rope's right behind us. Because some families with small kids come over here for hayrides and bands. Anna responds, "That clown right there did it. How do you not see him?" The ticket lady says, "Calm down, miss. That's not one of our clowns. Are you sure he isn't a friend of yours?" Me, "Thanks, we're sorry." So I just want to leave. The clown's still staring at us. I'm missing hair. This isn't fun. Fearless Anna decides to confront the clown. She marches right up with me behind her and demands he takes off his mask. He doesn't speak. He looks at me. He reaches out his hand to me, and I refuse to touch him. He pushed Anna from in front of me and stepped 2 inches from my face and screamed the most terrifying, psychotic scream I've ever heard. Everyone turned to look, and the band stopped playing. Anna grabbed me by my arm and pulled. His stare had me frozen. Then Anna grabbed my face, slapped me, and we ran. I looked behind, and he was standing and staring. Everyone went back to doing what they were doing like it was nothing. We got to the car and peeled out. Anna kept saying we need to go to the police. I told her it wasn't that big of a deal. It was a weirdo at a haunted cave, no hard feelings for the slap. I wasn't too scared, etc. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. He had a knife. That's why she slapped me and pulled me away. Not from the fear of being screamed at. She saw the knife in his hands. We contacted the police, but they didn't take us too seriously. I am now too afraid to go to any haunted attractions. Not because they're too scary, but you never really know if someone works there, or if they're there because they fit in so well. Before anything, a little backstory. I was 10 at the time and was visiting my hometown, Ecuador, for the summer. At the time, I knew just about everyone in my small little town. Back when I was 10 years old, my family decided to take me to visit my hometown of Ecuador. We went for the summer and planned out just about the whole stay. One day, my mom and dad were getting ready to go to a wedding and I was in the house with them. My big sister went over to a friend's house and my other relatives had already left for the wedding. I was supposed to stay home alone for the duration, but I saw that it was a beautiful day out and decided to ask my mom and dad to go to the park that was no more than 2 blocks away. They were reluctant, at first stating that there would be nobody to take care of me, but I argued that it was a beautiful day out and there was no way that the park would be empty. They kept getting dressed as I kept arguing until they finally gave in. They said I can go to the park as long as I was back before dark. I agreed and ran outside to head for the park. It took me no more than 10 minutes to get there, and I was ready to make new friends and play around. But, oddly enough, there was nobody else in the park. It looked abandoned, which was weird, seeing how this was one of the 2 parks in the whole city. It should have been packed, but I paid no mind to it. I believe I ran over to the swing set, or slide, it was 12 years ago, I can't really remember, and played around. As I played, I suddenly heard a voice from the distance. A clown was on the other side of the gate and motioning me to get closer. Behind him was a white van, which I had noticed before, but just thought it was a delivery truck of some sorts. I slowly started walking towards the clown and stopped a good distance away from him. He asked me in Spanish, "Hey kid, do you like clowns?" I nodded no to him, and he gave me that clown frown and then said, "Well then, let me see if I can change that." He opened up his car, and by looking inside, I saw there was only 2 boxes, though I wasn't sure what it was filled with. There were no seats, no posters, just 2 boxes, and then complete emptiness. Being a child, I still paid no mind to it, and watched as he pulled out a deflated balloon. He wrapped his lips around the end, and blew till the balloon was fully inflated. He tied the end, and started to form the balloon into a balloon animal of a dog. He showed it to me, and I smiled. He then motioned me to come closer, which I complied. He handed the balloon to me and said, "Do you like?" I nodded yes, this time, and gave him a little smile. He then grinned in the creepiest way possible. This grin was so creepy that even as a kid, I knew to back away a bit. The clown then said if I wanted to see the rest of his tricks, I would have to get in the truck. I told him that the exit was on the other side of the park, and I wouldn't be able to climb over the small gate. He then said in a few words that haunt me to this day, "Get a little closer and I'll carry you over. Then we can have loads of fun in my truck. Come on, kid." While saying this, he still had that creepy grin plastered across his face. I merely backed away and told him, "No, it's okay, sir." His grin turned into anger, as though he was annoyed at this. He placed his hands on his hips and said to me, "Aw, but we're just gonna have so much fun." Right when he said that, I heard a voice on the other side of the park yelling, "Son, I'm here to pick you up." I turned and saw a man that I recognized as a local neighbor. He was not my father, obviously, but the little me knew to run over to him. I said nothing to the clown. I just ran to the man and gave him a hug. The man waved to the clown and said, "Thanks for keeping my kid entertained." To which the clown replied, "No problem." I looked at him and asked, "Sir, what exactly is going on?" He gave me a sigh and explained everything. As it turns out, that was no real clown. He was a man that had been kidnapping kids all across Ecuador. He would lure kids with the clown costume and take them away to God knows what place. The people of my town had a feeling that he was coming to our town, which is why the whole park was deserted. He said that he was walking by when he noticed that I was talking to the clown and ran over to basically save me. As he told me this, he also dialed for the police to report the incident. We had finally arrived at my house, and this man said, "Be careful with who you talk to, son. Not everyone is who they seem." I gave him one final hug and gave him a thanks for saving me from that sick fuck. He gave me a rub on the head and said, "It's okay, my boy. Now hurry on. I have my own things to worry about." I nodded and ran in the house. Nobody was there. By the time they had returned, I had decided not to tell anyone, since I knew they'd flip out. It took a while to forget about the whole incident, especially with those words that kept reminding me of them. But I soon forget till I came across this page and memories of that clown flooded my head. I'm not quite sure what happened to that sicko, but hopefully he's now behind bars.